President Trump deployed his signature line, "You're fired," against his own national security advisor.
A West Wing change.
His national security advisor, John Bolton, is leaving.
John Bolton was hired as President Trump's national security advisor in April 2018 after the departure of H.R. McMaster.
You are going to do a fantastic job, and I appreciate you joining.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Bolton previously worked in the George W. Bush administration as Undersecretary of State and Ambassador to the United Nations. He was known for being hawkish and contrary.
Vladimir Putin looked Donald Trump directly in the eye and lied to it.
Trump loved Bolton's style at first, but the two quickly disagreed about how to handle foreign policy challenges such as North Korea, Iran, Afghanistan and Russia.
The regime in Iran needs to change. I think the world needs to hear this.
The two even disagreed on Bolton's departure. Trump says he was sacked. Bolton says he resigned. He's the 18th cabinet-level official to exit the administration in less than 3 years. Republican political strategist Rick Wilson joins us from Florida. Rick Wilson, the Bolton departure is, of course, viewed in the context of the many resignations and sackings within the Trump administration. But can we look at it differently? Was John Bolton actually any good as National Security Advisor?
Well, I think it's very difficult to make a judgment about that because Donald Trump is his own everything. Everyone in the administration is sort of conditional or acting or temporary or in an advisory capacity that isn't ever, permanent in any capacity. And I think Bolton's, ability to influence Donald Trump was fairly minimal. But I think it's really important for Americans and for the world to recognize that Donald Trump fired John Bolton for being insufficiently pro-Taliban. This is a moment, I think, where a lot of folks in the American national security apparatus have had their jaws come off the floor today because they can't believe that he got fired over disagreeing with Trump about bringing the Taliban to the U.S. to Camp David on the week of 9/11. It's really quite an astounding moment.
Afghanistan was one area where they differed. They also clashed on other foreign policy challenges, such as Iran, North Korea and Russia. Each of those has its own individual issues, but was there any core difference between the approach of the two men to national security that underpinned all of those rows?
I don't think that there is a real consistency with that, except that Donald Trump believes that if he pulls off what he believes to be negotiations, and what most would interpret as capitulations, with these countries, that it will pay off with dividends during the election. And I think John Bolton, as much as a lot of people disagree with John's approach and style and history, I don't think John Bolton put security before politics at any, or politics before security at any point. And I think that he perceived that Donald Trump was looking for political uplift based on national security compromises.
You mentioned Donald Trump's interest in signing a peace deal with the Taliban. Where is Trump trying to take his foreign policy generally?
Home. He doesn't want to be active in the world particularly, except insofar as it benefits him personally. He represents a certain isolationist strain that pops up in American politics rather frequently. And that isolationist strain, in his case, seems to believe that that America can withdraw from the world in terms of our international relationships, in terms of our alliances, in terms of the diplomatic status that we have in the world, and base it purely on what he thinks of as great trade deals. And I think there's very little to back that up in terms of the historical record or in terms of any sort of real approach to politics in the world as we know it. But he certainly is not a person who believes that American interests should go above, say, Vladimir Putin's interests right now.
You're a long-time Republican strategist. How would you rate Trump's chance of re-election next year?
Look, Donald Trump still has a meaningful chance of re-election, not because I want it to be, I've opposed him from the beginning, but because incumbent presidents are always, given a lot of political gifts. They have the power of agenda setting from the White House. They have the ability to be anywhere at any time with Air Force One. They have a lot of name ID and factors that are very important in a campaign. The other factor why he might win in 2020 is the Democrats in this country are historically quite bad at picking a great candidate. Once in a while you get a Barack Obama or a Bill Clinton, but more often you get a John Kerry or a Mike Dukakis. We may end up with that on the Democratic side this year, where they have a candidate who does not have the star power to make this a referendum against Donald Trump, which is what they need it to be.
Rick Wilson, good to have you on the program. Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to be with you.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.